What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another one, and this one is Dexter Resurrection Episode 3 breakdown. I will recap it, and then I will give you my theories of what I think is going to happen, and I will give you some other clues about what they're planning for later on in this season. And if you're into videos like this, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. 500 is the like goal. We have not been able to get there on any one of these videos. Maybe this is the one that pushes us to the top. And subscribe to the channel when you get a chance, because we do live streams, call-in live streams every week, and I'll have another one coming up this upcoming Saturday that you can let me know what you think about the episode or anything I said. Let's get right into it. So after we see Dexter doing his your car driving, we can see that he got a terrible rating, and then they showed him in the camera, and I think the camera, the fact that they keep showing him in these cameras, is going to come into play, that he is eventually going to get caught doing something on camera, and they're setting that up. But while he's talking with his man, trying to get his stuff right for the U-car, he goes back downstairs, and again, we can see that he is obsessed with this dark passenger, and he just wants to find this guy and take this guy out, and really just because the guy has his name, he's very jealous about that. After that, we go to the Harrison storyline. Now, while Harrison is inside of the Empire Hotel, Detective Claudette Wallace is on his case. Now, I have said from the beginning that she's being set up to be this criminal thinker, like she's a detective that thinks just like these serial killers. But I wonder why she thinks like these serial killers. She's the only one who thinks like this, you know. So is there some type of past, or is she dirty? Well, that's why she thinks like this. But she's basically telling Harrison, you know, we almost got you dead to rights. I just want to hear your story. We caught you in the elevator with these people. Harrison uses, oh, he told me that it was his wife. She says that it wasn't. Harrison's like, I can't tell the difference between a drunk person or someone who's drugged. But Harrison set himself up by saying that he procured drugs for him. So now she tried to flip that onto Harrison, and he basically is just getting nervous the whole time. After this, we go back to Dexter, and we see Dexter once again chilling in Blessing's house. And it's interesting, this whole friendship that they have, because they want to show the awkwardness of Dexter. We've seen that season after season, that he's just a very awkward individual. When he comes around people, he just doesn't know how to act, and I think that's what they're trying to portray here. But what it really is about is that Blessing's wife did a background check on Dexter, and for $75 she got all of his information. And then Dexter uses this exact same trick when he gets it, and this is how he tracks down the dark passenger. And listen, I'm glad they're showing this, but again, I do think it's a setup that this is what's going to bring Dexter down, these things that we're being shown right now in the end. So we see Dexter outside stalking the dark passenger, as he likes to stalk a lot of his victims, because we know that Dexter needs some type of proof. He will not do a job unless he is, in his own mind, 99.9% sure, all the way up to 100% sure that this guy is the person that he is looking for. We see him break inside of the guy's apartment, just like Charlie, but Charlie had a little bit more sophisticated tech. Dexter did it the old school way, but he found the same imprints in the rug that Charlie found. And I think they're trying to show that, you know, their skill sets are similar here. Like, they're on the same type of a level. Charlie just has more sophisticated equipment to do these things, but Dexter is just doing this. And I love Detective Dexter. I love when they go into his detective mode and he does all this, and I'm glad that they're not shying away from this whole situation. But after Dexter does the milk crate challenge and he puts it up there, he does get cut by the dark passenger's neck saw real quick, and then he says later on he's not going to get caught again with that. But he pulls down the trophies, and then he sees what he needs to see, the proof that he needs to see that gives him the reason to take this guy out for all the people that he has killed. And Dexter then reminisces about the way this guy's living is the way he used to live. This is the way it used to be for him. He used to be solo like this and just in a nice little spot. And he realizes that this is a good kill room, so he plans on getting the guy back to this place. so he could take him out there and do his old dog and pony show. After that, we are sent to Miami. And listen, I love Miami. I love even seeing it. It just brightens up the day when you see it. But Batista is there, and Batista gets the call that the truck has been moved. It got a ticket on it, and he just wants to know who is the owner of the truck and where they are located, and that's the information he is given. After this, we see Blessings trying to give Dexter a kit. Basically, he's telling him, and I think what this really is about is to be prepared for anything, anticipate people's moves. And in his old age, I think Dexter has gotten away from that, but that is the pep talk that he needs to carry over into his killing, what he likes to do. All right, once again, we see Harrison, and this time they got Harrison just about dead to right. She's going over all of the evidence, and she's saying that this body could not have been chopped up inside of this room. It's way too pristine, especially she's thinking if they were going to do it in a tub. To chop a body up into 9 pieces is not an easy thing. And that is when Claudette gets that her phones and she puts the staying alive on. And once she gets this, you know, this is detective mode for Claudette. And she sees everything. She sees the cart. In fact, she figures out the exact way that Harrison moved the body, where he took the body to, and how he chopped the body up, and where he chopped the body up. So again, when we're seeing her, they're trying to show that she thinks outside the box, but in fact, she thinks just like a serial killer and is able to figure out every move that they have and what they have done. But my question is, why does she have this skill? Usually when you see people with skills like this, they've had a serial killer in their family, or them themselves has the tendencies to become a serial killer. Miguel Prada was one of these people that actually joined forces with Dexter later on. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do think it's more than that. She even figures out the plastic bags are the same, and not only the plastic bags are the same, that the knots are different on this plastic bag. And they did have a security camera in the back, but this is New York City, and the pigeons pooped all over them, so you can't use that footage whatsoever. Let me know what you think about Claudette. After this, we see Dexter, or what appears to be maybe a foreshadowing of what happens to him at the end. Dexter on the table. But this time, he's just getting acupuncture. But what do you think about that whole situation? Dexter then is outside, not stalking, but looking at his son, and Harry's trying to convince him to go in there and talk to him, but Harrison is with his girlfriend, and Dexter doesn't want to upset that whole situation, and when Harrison goes back to his girlfriend's house, she allows him to spend the night as long as he sleeps on the couch. I don't know if it's his real girlfriend. They haven't seemed to consummated the officialness of their situation there, from what it seems like that. But this is the most important part of this whole episode, in my opinion, and that is the serial killer Suicide Squad dinner being set up. I am most anticipating this whole situation playing out. And this is what I want to get to, like all the other stuff, Dark Passenger stuff. I want that gone, and I'm glad that it is. I just want to get to this part because I think this is where the season heats up and everything else, and I cannot wait till they start showing this next episode. After this, we get the final interrogation by Claudette Wallace of Harrison. She confronts him. Not only does she tell him that she knows everything, explain it right out to him how this whole thing broke down, but she tries to give him the jokes around, like saying basically, you know, listen, we know that you did this stuff, we know that it was self-defense, we know that you were trying to be a hero in this whole situation. And she's saying, listen, we have all of these camera angles, and you said you went out on a date with a girl, but you have not been seen on any of these cameras. Now, I've said before, the number one rule is to shut the fuck up. And because Harrison didn't shut the fuck up and he made up a lie, it just makes him guilty. So he has no choice but to come clean and say that he sleeps inside the hotel and he's homeless. And that is why he did not want to say it, because he didn't want to get fired from his job or get anyone else in trouble, which is a very good alibi that he came up with there. After this, Dexter gets his knockout juice. sent to him. But did you not think from listening to this that the person on the phone knew that Dexter was the Bay Harbor Butcher? The way that guy sounded was very creepy to me. You tell me in the comment section what you think about the way that guy sounded. After this, Claudette confronts Harrison's girlfriend, who tells her the truth that she has been letting him stay here, and she doesn't need to hear no more. As soon as she hears her, looks her in the face, she knows that this girl is telling the truth, and she just walks right away. But I don't think this is where it's going to end for them. We'll talk about more of this later on. After this, we get a scene that I did not expect to see. I did not expect to see, at least the people in this scene, I did not expect to see. When we see Batista back in Miami, and looking at his bowling alley pictures of back in the day with Dexter and all of them, we get Masuka. And Masuka comes back in the building. Now, it's great seeing Quinn, but I like seeing Masuka. I am happy seeing Masuka. And this is a retirement party. 40 years on the service, and Batista is out and leaving for some personal vendetta. But he doesn't trust them enough that he wants to tell them anything. He just says, listen, when it goes down, you'll understand why. But now we understand how Batista is going to be in New York the whole time, because he doesn't have a full-time job anymore. He's retired. So now he can just walk around the streets of New York. But the thing is going to be, he is not a cop anymore. Right? So he's not going to have the same play that he would have if he was someone under the badge. So we're going to see how that all works out for him when he gets to New York. New York City cops don't like people messing with their territory. They take that very seriously. So finally, Dexter is inside of the cab with the dark passenger, and the dark passenger thinks he has the upper hand on him. Dexter, being a little sloppy, a little old, he drops his needle, but eventually, while he has him here, he subdues him, he gets the needle in him. And I think the hardest part Dexter had with this whole thing was pretending that he was scared of this guy. But Dexter had a metal plate wrapped around his neck, and that is the reason why he wore the turtleneck in the first place, and that's the reason why this guy's saw wasn't able to go through his neck at all, and he anticipated everything. And then we're back in this man's apartment, and we see the kill room. And not only do we see the kill room, we get his motivations of why he did exactly what he did. And it was because his father had a cab service. He put all his money into the cab service, and the your car drivers, or your shared drivers, or whatever they call them, the Uber people of this world, took all of his father's business. Everybody went to them, and it basically bankrupted his father, and that's what he's upset about. And this is the reason why he had to kill all these people. We heard him say before that these people were the problem and stuff, and I thought it was more of the immigration situation, but it seems like it was just because that business overtook everybody else. Now, if you really want to be mad at the people who made the business up, right? Not the people who are actually doing the job. They're just trying to make a living. If you wanted to get, not saying do anything to anybody, but if you're gonna do something to somebody, it should be the person that made the business up, not the people that are actually in the business. But Dexter gets his first kill of the season, and this guy first thinks that Dexter is there, and he's the one who sent him the letter, and he is the one who sent him the money, and he tells him that he didn't use any of the money. And Dexter reads the card, and then he realizes that like-minded individual means that there is a gala for serial killers, and then he realizes that him and this guy look a whole lot alike. So again, we've talked about this in previous videos. I've told you this before, that Dexter was going to impersonate this guy and go inside that, and that's how he's going to meet him. This is exactly what has happened. This, as I said, it would happen, and I am just excited to get to this point, and I just want to get there already. After this, we see Dexter taking care of the bodies, disposing. You wondered how he would be able to dispose the bodies in New York City. But we seen what he did using his U-car driver, or your driver, whatever that thing is called. He was able to figure out a place where the cops don't go, where the drivers don't go. And because he is a driver, if he is caught on there, it's fine for him to be there. But he realized when he burns the body, he has to have a thumb in order to get into the gala, so he cuts the thumb off this man. I think that, they ended this whole situation with the dark passenger in a good manner. I didn't want it to drag out all season, and I like the fact that they got rid of it fairly quickly, and I'm glad that we don't have to deal with that, and we can get to the real nuts and bolts of this whole season, and that is him dealing with the serial killer Suicide Squad and what's going on with all of those characters. When we deal with Batista and all this, I really think that's a good chance they're gonna take him out. When you show all of the people reminiscing and him hanging out with his friends and all the good times, it makes me think they're setting him up for a bad fall. And in the end, I think it's gonna be hard for Batista to do what he has to do because he no longer has a badge, so he's not gonna be a cop. He's just gonna be a civilian walking around trying to collect information. And New York City cops sometimes are very territorial, so I don't think she's going to want his help, Claudette I mean, in any situation dealing with that. And speaking about Claudette and the Harrison situation, they still haven't dealt with the watch at all, so I don't think that this situation is over. I think it will come back, and we'll see how close Harrison does get to getting caught by this whole situation. But this is what it's all about. The serial killer Suicide Squad. That's what I want to see, and I'm glad that we get to see it next episode. It's titled They Call Me Red. We know that that is the name of the Dark Passenger, and I've told you before, now we have 100% proof that this is what it's going to be. Dexter's going in there as this person. How long will he be able to get away with it and them not realize who he is? But you let me know in the comment section. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and of course, subscribe. And until next time.